This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. Very excited to be speaking with Aja Naomi King about Grosse Pointe Garden Society. How are you today?
I'm so good. How are you today?
Good. We had a really nice conversation about lessons in chemistry. I feel like it was a few months ago. It was probably longer than that. It was probably like back in July or August or something. While that's not like a super serious show, I feel like this definitely is a different tone. What was it like going from one to the other?
Um, Much needed for me. It was, lessons was such a beautiful experience, but that was, it was definitely a deep subject matter for my character. There was so much that I was trying to honor with the portrayal of Harriet. And when I read the script to Grosse Pointe Garden Society, I was just like, this looks like so much fun. It was just so like thrilling and sexy and funny, but then they mixed in these like really beautiful grounded moments of people connecting and relating to one another. So it's incredibly nuanced, but it's meant to be like comfort food, like the thing that we've been missing. And there's nothing on TV like it, which like really blew my mind because I was like, how have we been living without this for so long? And I just love being in an ensemble where everyone gets to bring forth so much incredible energy and just create these characters that have these like really touching moments and then kind of like wild moments of like what is going on, and it's just fun to play in that.
I think you play someone, a very strong person who is at like the lowest point of her life in terms of realizing that she's just been involved in something that has been so devastating and embarrassing. What do you connect to about her?
What I love about Catherine is that she's incredibly well maintained, so to speak. Like she comes from like a legacy family in this community, so she is the pinnacle of what it means to be a gross pointer, so to speak. And she's kind of like Martha Stewart meets Marie Kondo, and she has this very perfectionist attitude and energy where she wants to put forth this image of herself as being perfect, and the intensity of that has really gotten to her, the pressure of it. And as the show goes on, we learn that like she's really feeling kind of oppressed by all of this, and the pressure of maintaining it has gotten to her. And so there's a lot happening internally where she's wrestling with the person that she's created, the image of herself that she has created out there for people, and who she truly wants to be. And she struggles to communicate her needs in her marriage, in her life relationships with other people. And so it's like all of that is going on with her. And then on top of it, this murder happens. And it's just like, and then it becomes about like survival, everything that she could lose. The stakes are so high for her because she is a mom and she is a wife. And yes, she was kind of semi-sabotaging her own marriage by having an affair. Like, oh, Catherine, what are you doing? And but we get to see in the show as her character and her husband, played by Jocko Sims, the phenomenal Jocko Sims, how they work through that, or if they'll work through that. Um, which is really exciting that it dives so much into her life and family structure and place in society, and then the pressure and the stakes, the very high stakes of this murder on top of everything. But it's funny because like yes, there's a murder at the center of it, but there's all these incredibly relatable people who are wrestling with the tension in their lives, and I just feel like there's so much for our audience to connect to.
There are also all those like dark shots of trying to cover up the murder, etc. But what I always go back to, and I think of your character, is the scene in the closet where like woman after woman comes out, and it's I think a great way of taking back control of just like completely somebody who's always been an operator and abusing all these women and manipulating them. It just really gets what's coming to him, not really in like the right way. That's like it's not so brutal, but it's pretty awful.
But I mean, but what's nuanced about that is like she's ready to blow up this person's life because, Gary, who she was having an affair with, betrayed her by also sleeping with half the town. And she was very willing to blow up his life, but wasn't so ready to take accountability for her part in that action. And that's kind of like the fun and nuance of this character, that she sort of has blinders on when it comes to taking any kind of blame for that. And then what I love is that we see with her is that she thought that this was real. She thought that that was going to possibly be the next chapter in her life, like having that kind of fulfillment with him, to only find out that like it was all a game. It was none of it was what she thought it was, and it was all in her head. And I love that because I think we do that so often when we're unhappy with something. We just start to like fantasize and create this other reality for ourselves that isn't steeped in truth. And so it's fun to get to see like where she goes from there when she's finally able to accept the role that she played in all of that.
And this is a show that's, dropping one new episode a week, which I think for some viewers, especially with the cliffhangers, I particularly think of the episode where, they say about to say a name and then cut to the credits. I think it could be very frustrating for some viewers. Do you think that for those who are impatient, they should wait, until the end of the season to just go through and binge everything, or there's something nice about the once a week?
Absolutely not. Like culturally, we've gotten so used to having everything on demand and all at once. And I just think that there is something so satisfying in the anticipation of what's going to happen next. Like, let that week go by so you can really simmer on what you've observed and maybe like watch it a few more times to figure out what you missed when you originally watched the episode, and it'll better prepare you for the one that's coming out the following week. Like I love kind of like the delayed gratification that this show is giving, and we just don't do that anymore. And like, I don't know, it's like kind of retro to be like, yeah, I'm gonna watch one episode a week and actually go on the ride. And I hope our audience will want to go on the ride with us. But if they don't, yes, everything will also be available on Peacock the next day, and you can like wait for a few, but like, don't do that. Watch it all now. Keep up with what's going on.
It helped I asked your castmates and they were a little more mixed. They're like, well, you can do both, whatever. So I appreciate that you like, there's no compromise. It's like, no, you have to do it now. So well, I also last time we spoke asked you about what you were watching, and you were very into Shogun at that point. And now that it is however many months later, I'm curious what's keeping you just as enticed.
I mean, well, first off, like Shogun was so amazing, and I was so happy to see Anna Sawai just getting all her flowers for a well-deserved for that performance. She was so amazing. What have I been watching now? Oh, I've caught up entirely with Hacks, which I am like, wow, that show is so incredible. Obsessed. And St. Denis Medical. I have been like blown away by this show. Like, and I guess it was something that I really needed, just like the lightness and comedy of it. It's the same reason why I love Abbott Elementary, because even though Abbott Elementary makes me cry every episode, I get so emotional watching it because I just love those characters so much. But yeah, I've been really enjoying those shows.
Great. Well, we also talked about The Knife, which premiered at Tribeca last year. Do we have any news, anything you can share what's happening with the film right now?
I believe it was recently at Santa Barbara Film Festival. Namdi was there with it, which was really exciting for the film. And he's been keeping everything really tightly under wraps with like his plans for it. But I mean, it is exciting, because sometimes these things can feel so truncated, and it's nice to like kind of like tease it out a little longer, which is fun.
And for people who are watching, your career, they were thought that lessons in chemistry wasn't stressful enough. They're like, let's go to Grosse Pointe Garden Society. They're like, well, that's fun, but there's still comedy. Let's go for something nice and really stressful. I think we'll try The Knife at some point.
Yes.
So well, it's always such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you so much. Best of luck to you. Such a pleasure to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.